the brightest minds of a generation. They beat out thousands of applicants, secured elite funding, and spent their youth chasing the ultimate prize, a career in cutting-edge science. But a massive, earth-shaking meta-analysis published in July 2026 has exposed a terrifying reality. Nearly 1 in 3 early career researchers are currently suffering from clinical anxiety, panic disorders, and deep depression. This isn't a story about a hard workload. This is a story about a psychological hostage situation. Why do the most intelligent people on Earth stay in toxic, hyper-competitive environments that actively destroy their mental health? Today, we peel back the academic mask to expose the dark psychology of prestige addiction and the biological traps that turn genius into quiet desperation. The trap of the golden horizon. Elena is a 27-year-old PhD candidate in molecular engineering. Since she was a child, her entire identity was anchored to being the smart one. She collected straight A's, won prestigious academic medals, and lived for the exquisite dopamine hit of validation from authority figures. When she landed her spot at a world-class research institution, she felt completely invincible. But 5 years into her program, Elena's life is a hollow shell. She works 80 hours a week, survives on caffeine and frozen meals, and faces a volatile lab director who treats her as cheap, disposable labor. She hasn't slept a full 6 hours in months. Yet, whenever her family begs her to consider leaving for a lucrative, balanced corporate role, Elena reacts with visceral anger. "You don't understand," she whispers. "If I walk away now, I'm a complete failure. I'm nobody." Elena is trapped in the jaws of prestige addiction. In behavioral psychology, prestige addiction is a profound cognitive glitch where an individual couples their entire sense of human worth to a scarce, socially validated institutional label. Because Elena spent her developmental years being rewarded only for her intellectual achievements, her brain wired a dangerous survival rule. Status equals safety. Ordinary life equals death. When she entered academia, the institution weaponized this conditioning. Academic culture thrives on an engineering architecture of artificial scarcity. Fewer grants, impossible publication metrics, and rare tenure tracks. Elena's primitive amygdala interprets the potential loss of this prestige not as a simple career change, but as an absolute liquidation of her identity. She stays in the burning building because she is pathologically terrified of who she will be when she steps out of the smoke. The sunk cost execution. As Elena enters her 6th year, her physical body begins to revolt. She experiences regular panic attacks before lab presentations. Her hair is thinning due to chronic cortisol spikes, and her research has hit a structural wall. She knows, objectively, that the probability of landing a stable academic role is less than 5%. Yet, she doubles down, staying in the lab until midnight, hiding her clinical depression behind a manic work ethic. Elena is now being crushed by the sunk cost fallacy, paired with the delayed gratification trap. The sunk cost fallacy is a cognitive bias where human beings continue investing time, money, or emotional energy into a failing venture simply because of the magnitude of what they have already spent. Elena's brain looks back at her 20s and sees an agonizing trail of sacrifices, missed weddings, broken relationships, and deferred income. Her ego plays a cruel defensive trick on her. If we quit now, all that past suffering was meaningless. We must suffer for another 2 years to make the past investment valid. This is compounded by the delayed gratification trap. High-achieving minds are conditioned to believe that life only begins after the next milestone. First it was the degree, then the PhD, then the postdoc, then the grant. Elena has spent her entire life running toward a golden horizon that the institution intentionally keeps moving backward, trading her present physical reality for a mythical future that will never arrive. Before we watch the exact moment Elena's psychological armor cracks and explore the precise behavioral protocol needed to break free from prestige loops, let's protect your own mental trajectory. If you are tired of letting institutions use your passion to burn out your potential, and you are ready to reclaim your sovereignty using real science, hit that subscribe button. The performance architecture. What Elena and the 1 in 3 researchers burning out in July 2026 fail to see is that academic distress is not a personal weakness. It is a highly engineered, predictable institutional phenomenon. Academia operates on an asymmetric economic layout. It attracts highly idealistic, deeply passionate, and validation-dependent young minds. It baits them with the currency of prestige and saving the world, and then pays them a pittance to perform the high-friction, unglamorous data labor that fuels massive institutional ranking profiles. When a researcher collapses from exhaustion, the system doesn't self-correct. It simply reaches into an infinite pool of eager applicants and replaces them. The system is designed to convert raw human passion into institutional capital, leaving the individual contributor mentally bankrupt. The Autonomy Reclamation Protocol. How do you break an addiction to prestige before it completely hollows out your nervous system? You run a psychological override framework called the Autonomy Reclamation Protocol. Step 1. Diversify your psychological portfolio. Stop allowing a single department or a single advisor to hold the mortgage on your self-worth. Build hard boundaries. Re-engage with old hobbies, non-academic communities, and physical spaces where nobody cares about your H-index or your publication record. Force your brain to realize that you are valuable independent of your output. Step 2. Execute a cold market audit. Take off the romantic lenses of academic idealism. Look at your technical skill set, data analytics, systemic problem solving, or advanced synthesis, and calculate its objective worth in the open market. Realize that stepping laterally into an industry that respects your boundaries, pays your market value, and caps your working hours is not selling out. It is a sovereign reclamation of your life. Step 3. Face the ghost of the ego. Elena ultimately saved her sanity because she sat in her car one morning and whispered the most terrifying phrase her ego had ever heard. It is okay to change my mind. I am allowed to walk away from a bad investment. She packed her notebooks, submitted an elegant lateral exit notification, and accepted a research position at a private biotech firm that offered her standard hours and a living wage. The world didn't end. Her friends didn't mock her. Her prefrontal cortex finally stepped in to calm her amygdala down, and her clinical anxiety began to evaporate within weeks. The July 2026 data is a tragic siren song for modern intellectual culture. We are losing our finest minds to a velvet prison of academic prestige because we have trained our smartest children to value the name on their badge more than the peace in their chest. But an institution cannot love you back. A line on a resume will never wrap your arms around you during a crisis, and a prestigious title is a cold comfort when your nervous system is completely broken. Stop letting old systems trade your physiological youth for institutional credit. Step off the treadmill of infinite validation. Take your magnificent mind out of the cage of prestige. Realize that true genius isn't about surviving a broken matrix. It is about having the unshakable courage to build a life on your own terms. Are you a graduate student, a researcher, or a professional trapped in a high-prestige environment that is systematically draining your mental health? How do we fix this systemic crisis of academic burnout? Let's have an honest, raw conversation in the comments below. Give this video a like if you're ready to prioritize your peace over a title, and I'll see you in the next one.